Alright, good morning guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's live stream. Sorry for being a little late. I usually have an alarm for 7:30 in the morning, but I forgot on Thursdays I have that specific day turned off because I have an alarm at 4:30 to wake up. So I didn't really necessarily need a 7:30 alarm. But today I didn't have that 4:30 alarm turned on because I didn't go thrifting today. So both of my wake up alarms weren't on necessarily. So yeah, sorry for the late arrival, but nevertheless I am here. Alright, so let's get into the charts. Coming into today, my daily bias was for us to attack previous day low. Previous day low was my objective here. So notice this is the previous daily candle, and with the way that we took this daily candle, it tells me that hey, we have completed the daily objective, because previous day low here, this candle's low was the draw of liquidity. So the red line was the draw of liquidity coming into today, and after we complete that objective, I no longer have a daily bias. Right, so that was the 4-hour and 8-hour candle opening, or the 10 o'clock opening price Eastern time, and we have expanded a ton here. So 15-minute, hourly, 30-minute, they're both bullish. With the way we closed here on this 4-hour candle, we disrespected this 4-hour fair value gap to the left of us. We closed above it, so now that does indicate bullishness. But one thing I do want to draw my attention to here is that there is SMT at previous day high. So NQ and ES actually have an SMT here. So there's SMT, but I believe we're most, yeah, I don't really know, because the daily bias here, I don't have a daily objective anymore, right? We have already completed my daily bias or daily objective. But one thing I do want to draw your attention to is look at how we closed here on this monthly candle. So this is December's candle, right? That was how we closed here on December. And based on how we closed there, I can anticipate for prices to take out that red line being previous monthly low, right? So coming into, I guess, the first initial half of this month, or the later parts, I am going to be bearish until we take out previous month's low. Previous month's low is my draw of liquidity for the monthly time frame. So I do want to see lower prices. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but overall I do want to see lower prices on the monthly time frame. And I do want to draw your attention to this as well. So notice, like we stated in my, I believe it was my live stream on Monday, or it might have been on, yeah, it might have been on Monday. But I did note how this monthly candle here, or this yearly candle actually, was coming to a close, right? We have our open here on the yearly candle, manipulation lower, and then we expanded a ton of points, right? After expanding so many points, what should prices do? We should have some sort of retracement, right? And notice where we closed. We closed within the 0.2 to 0.3 of this dealing range. That's reasonable. That's reasonable price action, right there. So that's the yearly candle using that's using the TGIF setup on the yearly candle. And I have noted out but here on this yearly candle, I'm bullish. So I'm about to bombard you with a bunch of information. So notice how the monthly candle here, the current monthly time frame, the current monthly objective here is for us to take out previous month's low. But on the yearly candle, on the yearly time frame, I can anticipate for us to create new all-time highs. I'm not anticipating for us to have an immediate rebalance, right? Notice where this swing high is. Do you anticipate for prices here in this next year? I mean, a yearly candle does move a lot, but it's not efficient for the yearly candle to retrace all the way back into the immediate rebalance. I can anticipate for us to have some sort of open here on the yearly candle, manipulate lower here, meaning we're going to take out that previous month's low like I suggested. We're going to take out previous December's low, manipulate lower into some sort of fair value gap or PD array, and expand higher, attacking all-time highs again. So coming into this year, I am bullish. I do want to see us take out all-time highs at some point this year. I mean, we have 12 months, 365 days to do that, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But that is my overall yearly time frame, my perspective on the yearly time frame. And notice how I'm able to apply that thought process throughout every single candle, right? I just gave you guys a monthly perspective, right? I just gave you guys a monthly bias by me saying that I want to see us take out previous month's low. Here on the daily time frame, like I said, I no longer really have a bias because the bias coming into today was for us to take out previous day low. After we take out previous day low, I no longer have an objective. So I'm going to have to rely on the lower time frames, like the 4 hour, the 6 hour, the 8 hour candle for my bias. And the 8 hour candle closure here, I guess. Sorry, I do want to see us take out the 8 hour high here on the 8 hour time frame. Same here on the 4 hour time frame as well. It's reasonable for us to take out 8 hour high and 4 hour high here with the way we closed. But one thing that I do want to note, one thing that I do want to draw your attention to is this right here. We don't have much displacement here to the upside to support bullish price action, right? So that is just something that I do want to watch out for. Here I want to draw the 10 o'clock opening price, as that opening price is extremely important. If you're a buyer, if you're going to be a buyer, you want to be a buyer below the opening price, and if you're a seller, you want to be seller above the opening price. And like I said before, based on this 4 hour candle closure, I mean, I can anticipate higher prices, but it's just the lack of displacement is kind of throwing me off here. Alright, so let's see. We don't have SMTs here at the lows, which is something that, if we're bearish, it's good, because SMT will always be associated, or a swing high or a swing low will always be associated with SMT. But in this case, we didn't create SMT between NQ and ES. Yeah, how there's no SMT, which is a good suggestion. It's a good sign, because that means that we're most likely going to take out this low here at some point. But yeah, as of right now, I don't really have a daily bias. I can only rely on the 4-hour time frame and the 6-hour time frame for bias, but even on those respective time frames, I don't necessarily have a bias. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get a chopstick to mix up my tea. Em có chỗ nào không làm à? Chỗ khác. This is a green tea, I believe. Yeah, green tea, and I added some honey into it. It's a really good drink for the morning. Not heavy, it's kind of light drink. A little bitter, but the honey helps. Yeah, I don't really have a bias here. I'm gonna go on to my trading journal, and just go over some positives and negatives here with you guys, just so I can reaffirm for myself the positives and negatives that I was able to maintain previous week. But happy New Year's to you guys. Hopefully you guys, had a great start to the year. Spent time with the family, and yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. This is a year. I have a vision board right in front of me, and I believe this is the year to accomplish great things. But yeah, let's get started with the pros and cons. So for previous week, it was a week of Christmas, so we had a bank holiday, such as this week as well. We had a bank holiday yesterday, and coming into this week, reflecting on last week, the only trade I took last week had every single thing that I needed in order to take a trade, right? I had a higher time frame objective, I had a model, and I had an entry pattern. So for the specific trade I took last week, my daily bias coming into the day was for us to take out previous day low. The reason being is, notice how we created this daily fair value gap, right? The third candle, we did not close above the second candle's high, which is going to suggest that we're most likely going to rebalance this inefficiency. We're going to take out previous day low. So this is the hourly chart, and notice how after we take out the previous day low, after we take out that daily objective, I no longer have a daily objective, right? I don't have a daily bias anymore. So I'm going to have to rely on the 4-hour time frame, the 6-hour time frame for my bias. And in this case, we created this bearish 6-hour candle, right? So this 6-hour candle here is suggesting that, hey, the very next 6-hour candle, we should take out the 6-hour candle's low. And on the hourly time frame, notice how this hourly candle is also suggesting us, hey, we should take out this hourly low. But notice how the hourly low and the 6-hour low is two different lows, right? So that means I can take this model with the intentions of us taking out hourly low. After taking out hourly low, we should continue lower to attack 6-hour low. And yeah, I made a little note here. So after taking out previous day low, rebalancing, which is in a sense rebalancing the daily fair value gap, that means we have completed the daily objectives. So this meant I had to rely on the lower time frames relative to the daily. Whenever I say relative to the daily, that just means any time frames that are near to the daily time frame in length. So I went from the daily to the 6-hour here in this example. Notice how I didn't go from daily bias to 1 minute bias. Let me say that again. I didn't go from daily bias to 1 minute bias. 1 minute bias, so a 1 minute candle, all it takes is 1 minute to get created, right? But a daily candle takes 24 hours to be created. 60 minutes in an hour. So that's that correlation there. There's no correlation actually. There's absolutely no correlation. So going from the daily to the 6-hour makes more sense, right? You're taking it one step at a time, flipping one page. So my model here, like I said, is going to be on the hourly time frame to align myself with the 6-hour order flow. But whenever I went onto the 15-minute time frame, I noticed, hey, the 15-minute low is the same low as the 30-minute low and the hourly low. So that means instead of taking a model on the hourly time frame, I'm essentially taking it on the 15-minute time frame because they're the same low. All this is telling me is that, hey, because the 15-minute low is the same low as the hourly low, we're most likely going to complete this objective within the next 15 minutes, not the next hourly, right? So now my model has been switched over onto the 15-minute time frame. I'm going to find an entry pattern relative to the 15-minute time frame. So now I'm going to go onto the 5-minute, the 4-minute.
Nó làm cái đó thì nó chặt lên mấy chục đồng nữa này. Trước nó có 72 đầu xong tiên dẫn lên 91 đồng. Thấy không? View total đó.
Service. Nó tại vì nó là gì đây và trước nó nói là change from so nó maybe 87 đồng hay là giống như vậy, và 89 đồng, maybe 89 đồng. So nó nói là nó có service charge. You got
Thì cái nét mình cái nó chặt bao nhiêu cái nó làm đúng không?
Tại vì con nghĩ người ta chặt ba, tại vì người ta mới làm người ta chặt ba cho cái service ấy, để cho làm change ấy. Và nếu mà nó giống nhau thì con gọi người ta được. Rồi change nào là gì được.
Alright, sorry about that. So, going from the 15-minute time frame, I don't know why my webcam just froze, but I guess we're gonna just have to turn it off. So, going from the 15-minute time frame, I'm gonna go on to the 1-minute time frame for an entry pattern. And there's this fair value gap right here. And I end up using this 1-minute fair value gap as a entry pattern. So, like I said, every single thing about this trade was what I was looking for, right? I had a higher time frame order flow, which was the 6-hour low. I had a model, which was the hourly candle. However, because of how the 15-minute, 30-minute, and hourly low were the same, I essentially took the model on the 15-minute time frame, and I had that entry pattern, which was that 1-minute fair value gap. So now the second one is I stayed away from taking a trade when the indices were not in alignment with each other. So whenever prices are whenever prices on ES and NQ are suggesting two different things, right? Like if we were bullish on ES on the 15-minute time frame, but we're bearish on the 15-minute time frame on NQ. And you know, when model presents itself, it's on the NQ, everything checks out, but we have that misalignment between NQ and ES. I'm not taking that trade. That's like manipulation. That's when the conditions are extremely poor and you don't want to be involved in it. So there's that example. NQ is suggesting higher, but ES is suggesting lower. This just means no trade, right? If this happens right here, then this should be your next move. And third positive is just fully accepting. I was able to fully accept the fact that I'm not in control of the market directions. I don't control if it goes up or down at a specific time. You know, I'm not a market maker. I don't know who does that. I'm simply just an observer. And as an observer, I have to just wait until my strategy comes, you know, until if my model presents itself and I'm able to identify all 3 checkpoints, then hey, I'm going to take my model, right? And that's the only thing that I can control. And that's what I'm going to focus on. So negatives, just maintaining complete focus, right? Here, I just have to give my complete all to whatever that I'm doing. Then this applies to not only trading, but like everything in life, right? You only have so much energy, and if you can't focus your energy on a specific task, and you're all like, it's all over the place, you're not gonna be able to complete any task. And yeah, it's this one I have to work on because I can't use ADHD as a excuse, but it's just it makes it a little bit harder because I have ADHD. But yeah, maintaining complete focus. Some improvements coming into next week. Here, taking consistent models. Like I said, every single trade I take, I require a higher time frame order flow. And essentially what that is this question is, why else should prices continue higher or lower after completing the lower time frame model, right? So in the example that I shown you guys, why else should we be continuing lower to attack, or why else should we be continuing lower after we take out the 15-minute/hourly low? We should be continuing lower to attack the 6-hour low, right? The 6-hour low, the 6-hour candle is in alignment with the 1-hour candle bias. So both those respective time frames are suggesting lower prices, and that's why we should be continuing even lower. So this question is a question I ask myself, and it makes understanding the higher time frame order flow just a little bit more easy. Second thing in a trade is to be able to identify a model. So notice how I went from the 6-hour order flow onto the hourly model, right? If you're taking a hourly order flow model or trade, you must go on to maybe the 15-minute model, and etc. And third thing is displacement. Displacement is essentially fair value gaps. Because my entry pattern is a fair value gap, I require displacement. They go hand in hand. If there's no displacement, there's no fair value gaps. If there's no fair value gaps, there's no displacement. And so those are the 3 checkpoints that I kind of look for when taking a model. Second, checking for SMT always with the indices, because I don't want to be in conditions where it's poor, right? I want to be in conditions where it's more favorable. If NQ and ES are in alignment with each other, then I can align myself with that alignment. And if there is SMT, right, if they're both trading inversely, I just have to stay away from those market conditions, and I just have to wait until the time comes, right? Like I said, you don't control what markets wants to do. You're just simply an observer, and you take advantage of what it ends up doing. Continue to practice patience. If there's no trade present, that is completely fine. And I do not require external validation to be a profitable trader, right? Knowing when to sit on your hands is a quality of a profitable trader, and knowing when to execute is also another quality. You can set that as goals as well, right? Your goal doesn't have to be, hey, I have to pass this funded account or whatever, because that requires external validation. What doesn't require external validation is, okay, today I'm going into the trading session with the idea that I'm going to execute my model. If this model doesn't present itself one of my checkpoints, or if it's missing displacement, I'm just not going to take the trade. And your goal could be just to simply just follow your strategy, right? And that's completely fine. Fourth improvement here is just, like I said before, complete focus on the task at hand. Don't allow there to be distractions. Keep your focus simply on your values and goals here. Alright, so we just had a massive sell-off here just now. That was interesting. Very, very interesting. So we just sold back inside range here. We didn't end up taking out previous day high, and even on NQ we're starting to see that little sell-off here right now. Okay, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what we do from here. But there's not, like, I'm already looking at this. I don't see a higher time frame objective. We're not retracing back into discount because we already did that. We're not rebalancing an inefficiency. It's just us going lower. Yeah, this is interesting. Well, this could be the time where, like I said, tides turn. And remember what I said about, the 8-hour time frame is bullish. The 4-hour time frame, like, they suggest that we're most likely going to continue higher. The one thing that's making me wary is, like I said before, the lack of displacement, right? There is no displacement. There's no bullish fair value gaps in this swing leg up to help prices move higher. It just, the lack of displacement here, it just tells me that there's a lack in directional bias. Very, very interesting. Alright. I believe I went over every single thing with you guys here as of right now. I mean, I gave you guys, or I guess the daily bias has already been completed, so I can't really give you guys a daily bias anymore. But yeah, I kind of went over what I wanted to go over. Let's see. Yeah, monthly. I went over what my monthly bias is. I went over what my yearly bias is, and let me see if the monthly time frame actually closed within its TGIF setup. Ooh, we closed a little bit more bearish. So we close outside of that. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. But yeah, like I said, the monthly time frame here, within this next monthly candle, I can anticipate for us to take out monthly low. So if I can find some sort of swing trade to get in alignment with that, then I'll take it. But like I said, as of now, no models here. Because if I'm going for the
Nó xếp trên sân trường nhưng mà nó không có show cho mình cái đường bắt đầu mình đi sao sao đó. Khác là nó không có nói cho chỉ là xếp map không? Lúc phiêu nhưng mà không có nói là mình đi từ đâu, nó chỉ khi nào mình chạy nó mới nói à.
starting route to Love Field. Head southeast on Teodoro Drive, then take the first left onto Mirabella Boulevard.
Show mình trên đấy rồi.
Ba muốn nó làm gì?
Giống như mình bấm thì mình nói ví dụ chạy bao nhiêu mile là rẽ không có nói chỗ cái sức nó nói về nó phải nói cái này.
Nó nói start sure quẹo trái đây Mirabella.
Đã biết rồi, nhưng mà giống như là nó không cho mình biết hết nguyên một cái đường mình đi viết ra cái đó. Nó nằm coi chỗ nào.
Nó chỉ có này xuống thôi.
Muốn coi cái đó nào.
Alright, let me pull up choose a beta one quote this time. Actually, I'm gonna use a Seneca quote. Seneca, because I've been reading On the Shortness of Life by Seneca, and oh my gosh, it's an extremely good book. Here you guys can even see me, like, I was reading it. As I'm reading it, I wanted to ask ChatGPT for some notes and just some like a thorough breakdown of what chapter 8 really went over, and you guys can see that here. But Seneca quote, daily stoicism. Alright, so life is long if you know how to use it. Hey, look, Seneca on the Shortness of Life. Yeah, it's a very good book. Let's see. Life's perceived length versus its usefulness. Seneca challenges the idea that life is inherently short. So he is challenging the idea that people are stating that life is short, right? Instead, he argues that most people waste the time that they have, making life seem fleeting. A meaningful life, no matter its length, feels expansive and fulfilling. So this is something that I can get behind, right? I can support. If you're doing things that are in alignment with your values and goals, that time that you spent working towards it is just, it feels fulfilling. Like it said, you get the sense of fulfillment, the sense of like, hey, I'm spending my time like I should.
Bye.
And it's like you may know, it's like an idea that, let's say you meet someone that just comes into your life, right? You meet them for maybe a month, and you guys' energies like really align with each other, right? You guys have the similar interests, and you guys just get along really well. That relationship that you guys created could be a more closer, more intimate relationship than some of your other longer relationships, right? There's this idea that on the book by Seneca, right, On the Shortness of Life, and he brings up this idea that even if you see a man with a gray beard, right, wrinkles, you can't assume that he has lived a long life. I guess quantity-wise, like age-wise, he's old, but that doesn't mean that he actually has lived his life, right? And there's an annihilation, comparison. Oh my gosh, how can I not pronounce that? Comparison. Synonym. Annihilation. Dang, it's like a word. Analogy. Oh, an analogy that he uses, that a ship is going on its voyage, but it is traveling in really, the waves are high, the ship's getting bounced back and forth, and it ends up going really nowhere. The waves are pushing it to the left, and it's just a really, really there's no clear direction that the voyage is going or the ship's going because of, you know, all of the distractions and all of the just its environment didn't support and help its voyage. Could you say that the ship has sailed a long way? No, you can't. The ship hasn't gone anywhere, right? It's just bouncing back and forth. There's too many distractions. And it's like that's the same thing as having distractions in your life, right? So here, I guess, the breakdown, what ChatGPT is saying is reflection. The reflection from, I guess, this idea is, you know, are your daily actions purposeful? You know, are you aligning your efforts with your values and long-term goals? Is what you're doing at this specific time going to help you accomplish your goals, right? Are they in alignment with your values? And this is something that I always try to keep in mind whenever, you know, what I'm doing right now, right? At this specific time, I'm live streaming to you guys on my thoughts on the markets, right? And what I am seeing. And it's a goal of mine to be able to help people, right, understand the markets, and just bring the ideas and philosophies of Stoicism to the world. I guess, I mean, it's already present to the world, but I do want to give it more light. And it's a value of mine. So what I'm doing at this specific time, this specific moment, is in alignment. The value of time management, right? Life becomes long when you focus on what truly matters, cutting out distractions and frivolities. What does this word mean? Sorry, I'm a curious person. Let's see, lack of seriousness. Okay, cutting out distractions and frivolities. How do you pronounce that?
Frivolity.
Frivolity. Cutting out any lack of seriousness. Conversely, when life is spent chasing fleeting pleasures and unnecessary obligation, it feels shorter because there's no depth to it. No depth to it. That's good. Take stock of how much time you spend on activities that don't serve your growth, happiness, and well-being. Are there things that, or there habits that aren't in alignment with your values and goals? And if there are, you know, make an effort. You know, you actually, once you recognize it, you actually have to make an effort to change yourself, right? Purpose-driven living. By living intentionally, you stretch the subjective experience of time. Every moment spent in alignment with your values feels rich and fulfilling. There's depth to the time, right? There's depth to the time that you spend, rather than empty and rushed. As long as you live with an intention, with goals and values in mind, it becomes a little bit, I wouldn't say necessarily easier, but it allows you to know that you're working towards something bigger. How can you structure your day to include more of what brings you closer to your goals and less of what distracts you? And journaling, writing, planning out your day the day before, like the night before, which is what I do. It gives you a sense of, you know, a direction where you want to go with your day tomorrow, right? Mortality and time awareness. Understanding that life is finite encourages a deeper appreciation of the present moment. Life is like a river, right? It's always constantly moving. It's a power, it's a force that cannot be stopped, right? A great emperor cannot tell time to stop. A great emperor cannot tell time to reverse itself. Time is a force that can, like, it abides to no one. And you have to recognize that and appreciate that very current present moment, right? Wasting time becomes less less of a trivial act and more of a conscious decision to squander something irreplaceable. And there's this idea that Seneca also brought up, where people, or most people, he says most people treat time as a invaluable thing, because it's not tangible. They treat time as something that can just be thrown away because it's not tangible. They would rather protect their physical assets, their money, their phone, or whatever the case may be. They would rather protect that. They have more intentions to protect those items, the physical items, than time, because they cannot touch time. They cannot. It's not a tangible item, or I guess force, but it's the most important, the most valuable asset that is to you, I guess. And I guess from this quote, reflection is, how can you bring greater awareness to how you spend your days? Actionable tip for today: treat today as if it were a full life in itself. Identify one meaningful activity that aligns with your values and commit to it wholeheartedly, even if it's just for an hour. By doing so, you expand your sense of time and make lifelong, regardless of its numerical value. That is the quote for today, and let me post it into the group chat. Not group chat, but that is the quote for today. Oops. As I'm able to bring awareness to Stoicism and teach you guys about, and not teach, but I guess show you guys how I do my trading. It also helps me. I'm also learning the concept of, it's not public speaking, but I guess live streaming and just being able to communicate my message a little bit better, because I know it's hard for me to communicate my message, and I know that, and I'm just going to have to accept that. And I have to work on my speaking skills, my communication, which is why it's also another reason why I'm doing this. But yeah, I mean, I believe this is gonna wrap it up for today. Like I said with you guys, starting from the yearly perspective, yearly bias here is, I do want to see us take out previous yearly high. It's just a matter of when, and the way we can answer that question, when will we accomplish the yearly objective, is going onto the monthly time frame, right? Once there is a monthly candle that is in alignment with the yearly candle, that's when I'll try to find some sort of swing trade to be in alignment with the higher time frame order flow, right? But as of right now, what the story is, what's the story trying to tell me right now is that this monthly candle is telling me that, hey, we're most likely not going to take out we're not going to take out previous yearly high within this next month. But the monthly time frame, like I said, is telling us that we're most likely going to take out this monthly low first, and then we'll see where we go from there. But monthly order flow, I want to see us take out previous month's low. So now all I have to do is find some sort of alignment between the weekly candle with the monthly candle, right? So we're just gonna have to wait. But yeah, as of right now, no bias here on the daily time frame, but on the 4 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour, and 10 hour time frame, you will most likely get some sort of bias here from the 6 hour time frame, which is the 6 hour candle is about to close in an hour and about 16 minutes. So you'll be given a intraday bias here, just like the trade example that I went over with you guys, right? Because we completed the daily objective here on this specific trade example, let's apply that same like thought process with the current candlesticks, right? So like I said before, the daily objective was for us to take out previous day low. So after we take out the daily objective, I will now have to go on to the 4 hour time frame, 6 hour time frame, 8 hour time frame, and 10 hour time frame for a intraday bias, right? And like I said, we're about to close here on the 6 hour time frame in about an hour and 15 minutes. So we'll see what we do from there. But as of right now, at this specific time, I don't really have a bias. And we'll see. We'll see if we end up taking out Asia's low or not. But as of right now, it seems that we're most likely going to take out Asia's lows if we can respect. I mean, that's even if we do end up trading back up into this 15-minute fair value gap. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's live stream. I'll be back tomorrow. And thank you guys so much for watching.